Hey, what's up guys? I just want to talk about my MR2 suspension build here. These are actually the stock housing that was modified so that it will fit the coilover sleeves and the springs and so forth. I had these modified by a guy at Brooklyn Fabrication. He did some really good job mounting these springs on, and these endlink mounts were actually at the very top here. I just had him move it down here and then mounted a ring under so they could fit these sleeves here perfectly. So yeah, he did that. I'll link his information down below, but he did a really good job, and I highly recommend him for any kind of welding that you need done. And then as far as sleeves, I'm going with some 5-inch sleeves with some lower perches here that I purchased from A1 Racing. I'll also link the information down here so you could see where they're at. And then the helper springs here, they're actually 6 inches. I didn't want a whole lot of slack when I'm putting my coilover together, so I bought some helper springs here, and they're pretty much okay. So you can squeeze them all the way down, and it's not that much effort. So it probably won't affect your suspension or your springs too much. And then for the rears, I'm actually running 8-inch springs here from Ground Control. Very nice springs. And then for the front, Ground Control as well, 7 inches. And then as far as bump stop goes, I just used my stock one. I just cut it in half because the full one does not fit through the ID of the spring, so you're gonna have to cut it in half. So just use half of it. That should be plenty of bump stops. And upper perch, I actually have the roller bearing perches for the front so that it can roll freely. When the spring sits on top of it like that, it can actually roll freely, right? You don't want the static ones because it could bind your springs so you don't have a whole lot of movement. So yeah, recommend those for sure. And they're built by Wilheim. He's a well-known MR2 enthusiast who spent years researching the MR2 suspension geometry and so forth. So he built all these parts to accommodate the needs that the MR2 have. And then for the rear, obviously I'm running these upper perch here. They're just static. They don't have any movement because you don't turn for the rear anyways. So it doesn't really matter too much. And these plates here actually maxes out the camber of the MR2. With the front one here, it actually gets rid of one of the studs that mounts to the frame of the car. So apparently you only need 3. So but these maxes out the camber of the car, and they're a static camber. You don't, because when you buy coilover, you just max out the camber on the camber plate anyway. So it really is no use of having that. Just have it be done once and be static, and you're good to go. As far as strut inserts goes, the MR2 has, luckily we come with struts that are already built for inserts. So you can go with the Coney Yellow, KYB, AGX, or any other strut that will fit. Right now I'm running the KYB AGX just because it came with the car when I bought it, and they're still good. So they're not blown yet, so I'll run those until they're blown before I replace them. I'm putting on these sleeves here. You notice that there is a little bit of play. So what I've done is I just put duct tape onto it to help support it a little bit so it doesn't move when you put it on. And it's going to be a little bit of a workout to put them on, but just one layer of tape, and that's all you need. Probably just got to use a rubber mallet or something like that to hammer it down. Using a rubber mallet. use a actual hammer because you'll damage the threads and the sleeve itself, so just use a rubber mallet. That should be more than plenty to get it down. Here it is, almost there. It. Here you go. You do the same thing for all four of them. And just like that, these won't move anymore. Just take out these perches here, just show you it doesn't move. There's no more play. No more play in it. So that's that. Now, I can actually put the strut inserts back on them. Just close them like that. Very simple, nice and easy. These are the caps. You just go right on top of it like that. And I will probably use the right socket to tighten them up later, but right now they can just go on like that, it'll be fine. We're gonna do the same for everything else. Alright, so now we're going to start putting things together. First things first, we can throw on the helper springs. Helper springs just go in like that, just fit right in to the lower perch. And you'll put on this Eibach separator here. And this should separate the helper spring from the spring, help it keep it all nice and tight. So we can actually just put in the bump stop right now. It should stop nicely right there. And I'm not going to run any kind of boot because I drive this car in dry weather anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But we put in the springs here. This is the, make sure I bring the right springs. This is the rear. So yeah, this is the 8-inch spring, so that looks correct. Push it all the way down. It should push down easily. We're going to use the static perches. I'll put down the washer. Just going to go a couple threads in so that it stays in place. I'll use a gun to, or impact tool to get that one in nicely later. I'll do the next one. Now I'm going to use my ear tool here to tighten these things down. I know I'm not supposed to use these sockets for impact, but the space here is too small for an actual socket for air tools, so I gotta use what I have, right? So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these up. And just like that, if you want a higher ride height, you just go ahead and push this up, move the perches up, and it should adjust the ride height to a higher. And likewise, if you want something lower, you lower this collar right back down, and you get a lower ride height. And that is it. You got full coilovers. For endlinks, for the rears at least, you can use the OEM one or endlinks of the same length. I got these heavy duty ones off of Prime MR2 or Prime Driven, and they seem to be pretty solid links. You don't have the boot here anymore. You have a different kind of joint. I believe these are the Hypercoil joints that doesn't require any greasing anymore. So hopefully it's a lot better. Hope. And for the front, you're gonna need shorter endlinks, obviously, because you remove this piece from way up here down here. So obviously you're gonna need some shorter. I ordered some links off of the Wilheim site. They are shorter, built for these style coilovers, and they're adjustable as well, so I can adjust them to the height that I need or the length that I need to make them fit the front. Some of you may be wondering why I decided to not go with a BC or a 10 or a KW or some other brand of coilovers. Well, there's a couple of reasons why. Number one reason of all is that I can change out the strut insert anytime I want to any brand that I want. Right now I'm running out of the KYB AGX, but I can swap it out for Coney Yellows later on down the road if I choose to do that. I also get to choose the spring that I want right off the bat, the spring rate. I get to free to choose that as I'm building it. I know exactly what parts I'm getting, so I know I'm getting some quality parts. And then one of the more important things is the cost effectiveness, right? I'm not getting a lower end quality coilovers, and I'm not paying a premium for like a KWV3 or something like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm getting a good set of quality coilovers, so happy about it. That's all.